Hi, and welcome to this lecture on dictionaries. Okay, in this lecture, we are going to learn about what are dictionaries, creating, accessing, changing dictionaries, adding and removing from them, looping through them, copying, nesting dictionaries, and some built-in methods that are associated with them. And then we're going to look into some of the common errors that can occur with dictionaries. Okay, let's set up our Maya window and get ready. So first we're going to look into panel. Okay, we're going to go down to script editor, open that up. Let's minimize our channel box. Okay, and then we will get started. Okay. So let's make sure as well within history we have line numbers in errors and show stack trace ticked on, just to give you the full feedback that you need from your errors. So what are Python dictionaries? Dictionaries are a way of storing and organizing data in Python. They allow you to store key value pairs where each key is a unique identifier for a piece of data, and each value is the data itself. Imagine you have a list of phone numbers for your friends, and you want to be able to quickly look up a friend's phone number by their name. You would create a dictionary with your friend's name as the key and their phone numbers as the values. Then, whenever you need to find a friend's phone number, you can simply look up their name in the dictionary and you've got their number. Simple as that. So dictionaries are similar to lists in that they can contain multiple items, but instead of using numeric indices to access the items, you use the keys. Okay, so dictionaries are very useful for tasks like data manipulation, data analysis, and web development. Okay, and as of Python version 3.7, dictionaries are ordered in Python, which is also very useful. So in Python 3.6 and earlier, so dictionaries are unordered. So if you're in Maya from 2020, 2021 and before, okay, you will have unordered dictionaries in Python 2. Okay, but um, another way of looking at dictionaries as well is that they are mutable. Okay, so whereas tuples cannot be changed, dictionaries can. Okay, so they're very useful for you when you're cycling through large amounts of data within your scene, large amounts of control names that you need to store data against, or even just store coordinates or any other information. They're very useful using the key value pairs that we will look through now. Okay, so let's have a look. Let's start off with dictionaries. Let's have a look. Imagine within Python, we need to go through and create dictionaries, storing the information of the model that we've got. Okay, which could be dog. Okay, the type. Okay, could be a pug. Okay, the mesh could be quads, and the verts could be the count. So again, we can store any type of information within each key. But these are very useful because once you start building up dictionaries or libraries of information, you maybe want to store information against each item that is within your library. And that is where dictionaries become very powerful, because within every model stored, it would be best to store as much information about that model as possible, so that later on, when you're modeling something within a scene or within a crowd simulation or something, that you can quickly cycle through your library and go, oh, I need everything that's a dog, or I need everything with a low amount of verts. Okay, I want things to render quickly. So you can quite quickly store a lot of information, okay, against every library point that you've got. So all we have to do is, again, assign. So we assign a dictionary using the curly brackets. Okay, so open up the curly brackets, and then we separate our key and value using the colon. Okay, and then for each item, we just add a comma, and then we add the next items. Okay, obviously, if we have two models, the second model will overwrite the first. So Python will literally just give you an error. Oh, no, it won't. Okay, my mistake. Sorry, Python won't give you an error, but it will just overwrite with the second item within. Okay, so you just have to remember, okay, make sure that all your names are unique, okay, so that you don't overwrite your data. Oh, really sad at that. I thought it would give us a key error. Obviously, you can update the dictionary class yourself, create your own method of handling that. But here, okay, you can just remember that you have to keep original names for your dictionaries, original keys. So All right, once more, the dictionary items are passed into two values. Okay, we've got keys. This is how we access, and the values here. So these are the values stored within. Okay, so if we wanted to get whatever type, so we've got doggy dictionary. Let's say we wanted to look up the value. Okay, we can print our whole dictionary. Okay, here. So we've got our model, our type, our mesh, and our verts. But let's say we wanted to have a little look at the type. All we have to do is open square brackets. So much like the way we index. Okay, we type in the key and we get pug. So you see, we've looked up type, and from type we have got the pug. Okay. All right, brilliant. So nice and easy. Now, what if we want to overwrite the pug with the poodle? Okay. Now this is obviously what happens in daily life within CG, but sometimes you just need to get rid of the pug. Okay. Pugs are a nightmare. God, they're difficult. No, they're not. Obviously, they're lovely, gorgeous little things. But let's say we want to overwrite our pug with a poodle. Let's say we've got new information. We want to update this model. It's been changed. It's been updated at the client's request. Okay, what can we do? Easily, we can just give the dictionary variable. Okay, open brackets type, and then go equals poodle. So now, if we print, let's put this in order of execution, just for our sanity. Okay, we can now print doggy dictionary type, and we get poodle. So we'll see we've overwritten our pug with a poodle, okay, within our dictionary. All right, we can also get the length, get some other important information about our dictionary. Get the length, okay. How many dictionary items or keys has your dictionary got? Okay, we're checking doggy dictionary length. We are seeing how many keys we've got. Okay, so let's look at dictionary items. Okay, so what can we have in a dictionary? We've already kind of looked here at strings and integers, but what else can we have? Well, you can kind of have anything you want. That is the best thing about dictionaries. They're very, very flexible. So let's add a few more. Let's add colors. Let's say, okay, we want to add what colors this item is. We want specific dogs with specific colors when searching for them in the future. Okay, we want to go with red. Okay, pug. We want, it's got red, it's got blue. It's a pretty crazy one. And it's got bits of white in it. Okay, so we can pretty much have everything. We can also give information. Let's imagine this library a bit further, actually. Let's give it the information of rigged. Okay, let's say false. Let's say your modeling team is going through. They've got orders to build as many assets as they can in downtime, which is a good idea for any management listening. Okay, you should not have people just sitting around doing nothing. Okay, it's why lots of studios go under every year. Okay, you should give tasks in downtime to say, okay, well, instead of you working on your own personal portfolio, let's help keep this company running, keep everyone getting paid. Let's create lots of assets. So they can be added to a massive library, and they can give information like rigged. Okay. Oh. Okay. Well, let's say we've got to check, is it UV'd here as well? Okay. UVs and go false. So let's say it's been modeled. Okay. But it's not got rig. It's not got UVs. Okay. It's good to know this stuff. And you can say even things like version 1. No, that's not it. We can go version, let's go 1.23. Okay. I mean, that's not going to be obvious what that is. Let's go with 007. 6 or 7, whatever. Okay, so we're now starting to build up a nice little library of information here for our asset. Okay, that way, even when the rigging team now have downtime, they can search through our library and they can say, okay, well, what items haven't been rigged? What do I fancy rigging today? Well, we need a lot of dogs coming up on a project that's coming up for, say, Andrex. So why don't we just rig all of the dogs that I can find? So we'll search all types, all model types, and go all models of dogs. Let's find those. We need, no, we don't need pugs. We need, what are the Andrex puppies? Labradors. So we need Labradors. Let's get loads of those little Labra puppies. Okay, the cutest possible dogs in the world. And let's model those. Okay, or rig those even. Okay, so again, really useful thing. I love dictionaries. They are just awesome. Okay, let's have a look at another built-in, let's have a look at how you'd even tell it's a dictionary. Okay, one, using clear naming. Okay, use dict or dictionary. Okay. Value token. What have I done over here? Oh, I've started with zeros, haven't I? So, of course, can't start with zero. Let's say it's number 7. Okay. See what I mean? It always makes silly mistakes. Still do it. It'll happen. You'll just know what you've done. Okay, after you've done it. Okay, so what type is this? We looked here, we've got type. Okay, dictionary class. Okay, and remember, okay, with that class dictionary, you can also append the types of it. So you can start reading through it. And you can start appending things in the future. So if you did want to make it so that if somebody tried to put 2 model types in, you could raise an error. But so that's why Python is awesome, because everything can be changed, everything can be updated on what you want to do. So, yeah, that's basically everything that we need to look at in that first section, I think. So yeah, Python is looking at this as a type, as the dictionary, okay, or as a dict, okay. But let's have a look at the dict constructor, because we can also create our dictionaries that way, which in some instances I prefer a lot because it makes for much better readability. So, like with lists and tuples, we can use the dict constructor. Okay, the dict method to actually build us our own. Okay. I'm actually going to skip through this. Okay. And here we go. So we want our doggy dictionary. We're going to use the dictionary constructor. We're going to give it model equals dog. Okay, we're going to use type equals pug and mesh equals quad. So what this has saved us doing, and why I prefer using it a lot of the time, is it's stopped us doing this, adding in quotation marks. I know that these seems trivial, but once you've done 1,000 of these, you'll think, okay, well, if that was maybe a few seconds every time, that's a lot of time wasted. So for readability, this can be quite nice. Okay, so let's tab. So return tab. I'm going to return straight to the correct place. Perfect. Okay. And there we go. So we've got model type mesh. Easy. Okay. A little bit easy to read. But it does exactly the same thing. See, we've returned ourselves a dictionary. Okay, constructed using the dict, okay, method. And this again, same with list. Okay, and just another way, or tuple, just another way of creating that type using the constructor itself. Okay. So again, we can put it all on one line like we had a minute ago. But again, for ease of reading, I would say that maybe having doggy dict equals dict. Okay, you're saying on one line what this is doing to the reader. Okay, and then you're going through and you can see all of the keys down here and see all of the values over here. Okay, much easier. Even just align these just to make it a little bit easier, which again isn't perfect PEP 8 programming, but sometimes it just makes it easier to read. Okay, brilliant. So what can we also, how else can we build? So we can also build a dictionary using from keys. Okay, that's another method that we can use. Now, this is quite a powerful method in that it allows us to use, okay, let's see, X is a tuple with key 1, key 2, key 3, and Y is just this integer, nice and simple. Okay, but let's say we want to create a dictionary. Okay, we want to use, okay, these keys. We can actually use the dict class type. So again, this is just a class type. We can now say dot from keys. We want to create a dictionary from the keys X and Y. So now the keys are required. Okay, you have to have the keys in this, but okay, the value is optional. You don't actually have to provide anything here. All right, but if you provide just one item, then let's see what happens. We've got key 1, okay, equals 0, key 2 equals 0, key 3 equals 0. So a very quick way of building up a dictionary with default data that you can input into it, okay? Nice and easy, but then this is a really good built-in method, okay, which I definitely recommend using in the future just to quickly kind of cycle through, build up a default dictionary. So let's have a look at the similar example from above. Now let's just do with X and see what this does. So as I said, okay, Y is optional. Okay, the value is optional. Keys, these are required. So we just put in our keys, and what we've got is none type back. So now if we look at this dictionary and we open up and search through key 1, we get none. We get nothing. Okay, there is nothing there. That equals this value. Okay, so let's go for accessing. As we've already stated, okay, pretty straightforward. We have to look through, okay, using the keys, okay. So we can also assign those keys. Let's have a look at this. So we could do dog type. Again, let's abbreviate this just a little bit because that's going to get on my nerves. We'll go for dict. Okay, open square brackets and type in type, which type is created as pug up here. So now dog type becomes equal to pug. Okay, so that's a way of referring or getting an item, referring to it by its key name inside the square brackets. We can also use the method get though, again, which I like more so for readability than anything. So instead we do .get, okay, open up our parentheses, okay, calling this method get, okay, we can do it this way. We get pug. So doggy dictionary. So again, this is a dictionary type. So this class type, excuse me, has the ability to let you get any key from it, like type, and it will return you the value. Okay, so getting the keys from a dictionary. Let's see, is that going to be tough? No, not at all. It's quite as simple as pressing keys. Okay, and what happens here? All right, we actually get all of the keys. So model, type, and mesh. Okay, nice and simple. Now this is an iterator that we can use to iterate through. It's pretty useful. Okay, we've already looked at updating a dictionary item by using the square brackets. And what do? We typed in doggy dict type equals poodle. So that'll update the type from pug to poodle. Okay, nice and easy. Okay, straight value. Yeah, straightforward. Okay. All right, but now what happens if we've changed that and we want to get all of these values? Okay, what we can do is dot values. What do we get? We get an iterator again saying dog, pup, quads. Okay, so it'll be in the same order that you got the keys. Okay, but this is all of the values. All right, nice and easy for you there. Okay, very straightforward. So you got keys and values. Okay, brilliant. Okay, but what about if we want both at the same time? Let's say we want to loop through and cycle through both. What can we get? We can actually look at items. So doggy dict items. And this gives us the key value pairs in tuples, okay, which I'll show you later how we can loop through these items consecutively. It'll be nice and easy. So how about checking if a certain item exists within our dictionary? It's pretty much the same condition that we do for lists and tuples. We just write our condition with a specific expression. So let's say if model in doggy dict print yes, model is in our dict. Okay. So again, we have searched through all of the keys here, and we have then gone, is model within these keys? And it's going, yes. Okay. We couldn't search for pug because these are values, so we can't get to those yet. But if you typed in values, we went with pug, Yes, pug is in our dict. So you can do it by just changing your expression around a little bit within your condition and saying, okay, well, is pug within the values? Okay. Yes, it is. So you have checked that. You can check either of those within your dictionary. Okay, well, that was great. So let's have a look at changing. As I hinted earlier, we can change the value of a specific item by referring to its key. Okay, so we've already seen that poodle has been changed over, but pug has been updated to poodle, but let's use the update method. Okay. So let's go doggy dictionary dot update. So what we're going to do is we're going to pass the dictionary item that we want to update or that we are going to append and add. So we will go with rigged true. Now when we look at doggy dictionary, okay, we will see actually, yeah, rigged. This is rigged. Great, true. We can use it in animation. Brilliant. It's good to go. So imagine again, within your pipeline, you want to quickly start a job, get a bid going. You can search through all the items, all the dogs that you have for a dog scene within a commercial. I don't know why I'm sticking with the dogs, but hey, we're on it. Let's keep with it. And you can just say, okay, well, I need to find all the dogs, and are the dogs all rigged? Okay, for every dog I find, is it rigged? Okay, is it this type? Okay, and say, how heavy is the topology? Obviously, if you're a big studio, you may have a huge amount in your library of film assets, commercial assets, game assets. So if you're doing a certain amount of dogs in the background, you may want some game assets because the game assets going to be far less quad heavy and vert heavy. Okay, but if you're doing something which is a commercial or a film, okay, you might not mind something being a bit higher poly because you're going to be charging that to the client anyway. Obviously, the lower poly it is, the better, but obviously quality matters here. Okay, so we can also change a dictionary by updating. Okay, as we stated earlier, we can select a specific index item, update it this way. So you can also update it that way, but you can do it either this way or using the update key. Okay, let's have a look at adding additional items like we just did with update. Okay, let's have a quick look. So got our doggy dictionary. Let's clear our output window. Got our doggy dictionary. Okay, we've got model, type, and mesh. Okay, it's quads, it's a pug, and it's a dog. Okay, but we can add a number, we can add a section and a key and a value to this dictionary simply by opening brackets, entering the key, and entering its value. Now we have our model, type, our mesh, and our color of our dog. Okay, easy. All right, but again, you can also use the update for this method. So we could also just say doggy dictionary update color black. Okay, so you've got these two clear methods here that we just talked about for adding. But now let's go on to removing, which again might be something that you're coming to if you want to cycle through your dictionaries and let's say you have a printout of what the asset changes have been within your pipeline any given month. You want to keep a record of what's been updated, changed, appended. Okay, you may want to cycle through your dictionaries and just check things. Okay, open the scene up, run a check, and change things within the feedback sheet that you've got. Okay, so let's say we've got our doggy dictionary again. Okay, we can go very similar to list method, pop, and pop color. So what this will allow us to do is remove the color from this dictionary. So you'll see when this dictionary started creation, we have got the color black within it. But now if we go color dictionary pop, pop is essentially just popping the color out of it, the key and the value out of it. So as a result, see it's removed black. Now doggy dictionary just includes, okay, model type and mesh, okay, no color. Now you can also do a delete. That is another way of doing this. Okay, and you can go delete and then the specific key. So, all right, so we're going delete doggy dictionary. Let's do a print before and after. Actually, let's do so. Let's initiate the dictionary. Let's print it. Okay, and you see we've got color in there. But now let's highlight, okay, and go control and enter, and we see doggy dictionary color. Okay, we've deleted it. Okay, keyword in Python. So now let's print again, and see we've got no color. Okay, it's been removed. But the delete keyword can also delete the dictionary itself, so be careful. If you remove the keyword, and you just go delete dictionary, so we've got our dictionary again, it's up here. This is what we've got left. But if we go just delete dictionary, what we now have is nothing. Okay, we have removed this from Python's memory. Okay, the name doggy dictionary is not defined. It does not exist. Okay, so it can be useful when you're deleting items within the system we're going to make later, because you do want to remove items from Python's memory. Okay, it'll save you time. And in specific scenarios where you have millions of items within your scene, I've worked on McLaren cars, for example, on an asset library. And obviously, we're taking the actual information from the builds of the cars, from the exact same data that the machines would use to build the cars. And this data would come in with millions of parts. Okay, like it would be, or millions of data points, I should say, thousands upon thousands of parts, hundreds of thousands of parts. Okay, in a McLaren, but millions of data points. Okay, we're talking about the measurements, the dimensions, the colors, the paint types, the paint thicknesses, the type of adhesion used, whether it's spot welding, whether it was this, that, or the other. And it was interesting stuff, but obviously a lot of it we didn't need, but we needed to check through it to see how we would use it within our system. So we wanted to make sure we deleted stuff from Python's memory to make sure our scripts didn't slow down massively, okay, before we then took them into Maya and we put them within our library. Okay, but you can also use the clear functionality. So let's go back to this. Now do dot clear. Okay, so what this will do, instead of deleting our dictionary, so if we print dictionary now, sorry, you see we've got everything in our dictionary. But if we now clear the dictionary, what do we got? We have an empty dictionary. So what we have now, we have not deleted the dictionary. We still have the dictionary, but we've just emptied it. Okay? So good to remember the difference with those. Clearing will just empty your dictionary, but deleting your dictionary will just remove it from Python's memory. Okay, so let's now look at looping. Okay, let's clear out our output window. So we can loop through a dictionary using a for loop. Okay, and when looping through a dictionary, the return values are the keys of the dictionaries. But there are methods to return the values as well, as we will see. So let's print every item within our doggy dictionary. So we've got, let's say, for x in doggy dictionary, let's print x. Oh, I'm sorry, we cleared our dictionary, didn't we? So we're going to get nothing in our dictionary. That's not useful. So let's reinitiate our dictionary as well. Okay, we've got model, type, mesh, color. So all of our keys. All right, very straightforward. Okay, cool. What we can also do is get the values by just simply doing this though. So doggy dictionary, open square brackets, okay? And now we will use that key, okay, within our dictionary to access the value. So now we're cycling through all of the keys using that key to access the value. And now we've got dog, pug, quads, and black. So up here we had model, type, mesh, and color. And now we have dog, pug, quads, and black. Okay, great. So, but we can also do as we did before and use the values. So we can either use all the keys or use values, okay? Okay, so we could either use it that way, or we could just go ahead and say values, which again, much more readable, I think, rather than having to retype in doggy dictionary every time. Okay, so let's use the keys value now, okay? So simple, same thing, and yep, we get the keys, okay? Keys and values, got to remember those two, very important to get in your head, okay? But let's say we want to use both at the same time. We want to try and use every key and every value at the same time to check something, okay? We could use keys and values, and we can actually search all the items within this list, okay? So this is now going to return us, okay, the tuples, okay, of each item. So the model, okay, so the key, the value, the key and the value, the key and the value, okay? And now we can go, should probably just use a singular because these be a little bit easier to read. So key and value, let's have a look. So we've got model dog, type pug, mesh quad. So again, we're now printing both. So this will be a little bit easier. We have essentially unwrapped, okay, these two values, and we're specifically putting them within the key, within the value variables right here that we are then printing out. Okay, let's have a look at copying. Again, copying a dictionary, very similar to lists and tuples and strings, okay? You cannot just simply go dictionary 2 equals dictionary 1, because we will just reference dictionary 1. So any changes made in dictionary 2 will show up in dictionary 1. It's not a copy, it's a reference, okay? But, okay, it's very easy to do. Again, we use the dot copy just as in, just within lists, we would as well. Okay, so very similar. So let's use a different example. So let's use our January dictionary, okay? Our January dictionary, okay, it has the type, it's gas, okay, amount, okay, 4523. Let's imagine we're doing a really cool Python script here. Again, I do love, tragically, a good spreadsheet, but Python is very good if you have some complicated equations that you want to do. Maybe Python might be the best way to do it for you. The formulas are much more readable in here than they are in spreadsheets. So yeah, maybe you want to try and work out your bills or do something in Python rather than you would in a spreadsheet. They're powerful little things. So let's go new dict equals January dict dot copy. So now remember, this is not going to be a reference of our January dict. This is going to be a copy. Okay, it is its own item. It is not the same. Okay, but it has all of the keys and all of the values as they were stated. Okay, very straightforward. So another way to use another way to copy this dictionary is to use the built-in dict, okay, functionality. So just encapsulate our January dict, okay, with dictionary. Okay, this will again create a brand new dictionary, okay, because we have passed all of our new information into the functionality that creates dictionaries, okay. So our new dict, again, is type gas amount, okay, month, year. We've got our keys and our values all lined up there, okay, very straightforward, okay, and again, very consistent with lists, with strings and tuples, okay. Nesting. So this is where dictionaries become very cool, okay? Nesting in Python dictionaries means having one dictionary inside another dictionary. So, like I said, you can have any type within a value, okay? You've got a key, which is a string, okay, or can be also a number, but the value, again, can be anything you want, okay? So you can have a dictionary as your value, okay, and you can start nesting information as needed, okay, which is again very useful for dynamic scripts and scripts that are essentially going to be again nested and running in a nested fashion, because they're going to be calling themselves, and this is a great way to work with this data type. So let's show this example. So let's say my dictionary, okay, has my friend's name John, okay, his age is 30, okay, his address, this is not his address, is 101 High Street, Town, Hartford. Okay, but you see what we've got here. We've got our 3 keys, but the third key here, okay, we've got a string, and an integer. But in the third key, we've actually got a dictionary. So we've nested another dictionary. We've got our close brackets, curly brackets here, but we've now got another set of curly brackets with a new dictionary inside with 2 new keys. Okay, so in this code, the address key has a dictionary of its own value. Okay. I know it might be hard to get your own head around, but this is very useful information. So you can access the values within the next nested dictionary using multiple keys. So let's try and access this information. So we are going to print. Sorry, long day. My typing has started to flag. There we go. So my dict, we're going to go for dress. Then we're going to, so that is our first kind of index point, okay, using the value of, so using the key of address, but then we're actually going to go for street as well. We're going to look up the next bit of information because what we're getting returned, so what we're getting returned by this first call, okay, is a dictionary. We're looking through my dict, we're going to address, and what we're being returned is this dictionary straight away. So from this dictionary, we can look at the next key, which is street. Okay, which will then return us 101 High Street. Okay, that's brilliant, right? That's quite useful information, and again, gives it in quite a readable fashion. So the more nested the information is, okay, the more complex it can be. But again, make sure that you just understand that you are within a dictionary able to access this very quickly. Okay, so nesting with complex data, it should be organized hierarchically, which allows you, is within a specifically, let's think of a Maya example, within group data to access it very easily. For example, I have a function that allows me to build grouping setups using nested dictionaries. So I essentially set the group up using the unpacking that we've already seen. I loop through the naming that I want to use, and I actually return a list of the names, which can then be unpacked for me to use later on in the script. And it cuts down the amount of code, again, massively for us. So it's one way to use nesting, okay? But within dictionaries, nesting is very useful, and I do recommend having a good play with it. Okay, so that is nesting within dictionaries. Now let's have a little look at the built-in methods. So in this lecture, we've covered most of the following methods and how to use them. But let's have a quick recap. Got the clear method, okay, which obviously clears a dictionary, but it does not delete the dictionary itself. That was where you'd have to use delete, okay, but remembering that will delete the dictionary and its data from Python's memory. Okay, we've got the copy method, the cappy. No, not Irish. Sorry, that didn't mean to be offensive. I do love the Irish accent. Okay, returns, okay, so we've got a copy, okay, literally just returns a copy of the dictionary, okay, remembering dict1 equaling dict2 will not return a copy, it will return a reference, okay. We've got the from keys method, okay, which will again take a default of keys, okay, but the values do not have to be included, or you can add one value and it'll copy it across all of them, so it gives you a good default for all of them. Okay, we've got the get method. Okay, allows you to, again, get the value using the keys. Okay, we've got the items method, which returns you a series of tuples that you can then unpack within a for loop. Very useful. Okay, we've got the keys method. It returns all of the keys, okay, that you can then iterate through. Okay, and the same as that, we've got the values, so you can iterate through the values. We can pop. Okay, items, okay, out of the dictionary if we do not need them. We can update them, okay, which can update either an item within a dictionary, or it can remove items from that dictionary, or values, which again returns a list of all the values. So I think I already said that one. I'm just going over myself now. Okay, but now let's look at the common errors, okay. These are going to keep on getting longer, these sections, as we go into more and more complex areas. But let's see. First common error I generally see. Let's have a look. I'll start actually listing them out. Okay. Let's have a look. So, trying to access a key that doesn't exist. Okay. Now, what does this mean? Okay, if you try to access a key that doesn't exist in a dictionary, you'll get a key error. Okay, so within our doggy dictionary, if you try to access models with an S, okay, plural, not model, okay, that key doesn't exist, so you would get a key error. Okay, to avoid this, you can use the get method instead of indexing with a dictionary directly. The get method will return none if the key doesn't exist. That's why I do prefer using the get method sometimes. But you can also just use a little condition, okay, with a good expression saying is, okay, if model in, and then use the get method, or, you can just make sure that you are explicitly stating items within your dictionary and checking that within your code. But I would recommend checking within your code within expressions and within conditions. Okay, so modifying a dictionary while iterating over it. Again, this is very common. I've seen this a lot of times. I've done this before, definitely when I was starting out, until somebody said why that was a bad idea. But if you're if you're modifying something that you're iterating over within a for loop, you can get unexpected results and errors. Okay, to avoid this, you should probably create a copy of the dictionary before iterating over it, or use a list or generator expression to iterate over the keys, which we'll talk about in later lectures. So yeah, just remember, while you're iterating over a dictionary, don't use that iteration to make changes to your dictionary that you're iterating over, because again, it will give you unexpected results. For example, if you add an item within a dictionary or within a list that you're iterating through and then append it, your list is expecting an item at the end, and therefore you might change the wrong item within the stored generator that you are looping through. Okay, so confusing keys and values. So sometimes people accidentally switch the keys and the values when creating a dictionary. For example, they might write my dictionary is apple and fruits. Let's say the keys are apple, kiwi, banana, and then the values are vegetable, fruit, and fruit. Okay. But what they actually meant to do was put those down as the keys. So you want to maybe put the keys down as vegetable, fruit, and then use it that way around. So you just got to make sure that when you're cycling through or creating your dictionaries, that you make sure that you correctly put the logic down of how you want it to be readable. Okay, you want to be able to search through your dictionary and go, okay, I want to get all fruit. So then you can have a list of all the fruits, and then you have a key of vegetables, have a list of all your vegetables. Make sure that you have it the right way round, and that then when calling it, that it is obvious to the user. Like with the names and phone numbers. I want to search for my friend's name to find his phone number. I'm very unlikely to be able to search for all of my friends' phone numbers to find their name, and that wouldn't be useful to me. I already know their name, but the phone number is the harder thing to remember. So try to write things in the logical way that you will be calling them, or they will be used within your script. Well, thank you. And so in this video, we have learned about dictionaries, creating them, accessing them, changing them, adding and removing from them, looping with them, copying them, nesting them, and built-in methods. Okay, and the common errors that are associated with them. Okay, thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to seeing you on our next video.